Shedeur Sanders just flipped the entire game, and the haters are in full meltdown mode. He pulled in $6 million with bold, unapologetic NIL brand moves that shattered every old-school rule. This isn't some passive rookie. He's relentlessly building a money-making empire, one power play at a time.
Before taking a single snap in the NFL, Shedeur Sanders earned over $6 million through name, image, and likeness (NIL) deals. While many rookies are focused on adjusting to training camp or earning a spot on the depth chart, Shedeur entered the league already operating like a seasoned entrepreneur. He didn't just sign endorsement deals. He structured partnerships, secured equity, and turned his personal brand into a revenue-generating machine. Some critics believed his popularity stemmed only from being Deion Sanders' son, but the financial results tell a different story. Shedeur Sanders has managed to redefine what it means to be a modern athlete by leveraging NIL in ways that go far beyond typical sponsorships. So how did Sanders make $6 million through strategic NIL moves, and what it means for the future of college and professional football branding? Let's find out. Many initially dismissed Shedeur's rise, assuming that being Deion Sanders' son gave him advantages others could never access. But Shedeur's approach has consistently gone beyond legacy. From early on, he positioned himself as a self-contained investment, putting time, energy, and resources into shaping his image and message. He didn't wait for media coverage to define him. He built his own platforms, from YouTube to Instagram to direct brand partnerships. His content wasn't just about football. It highlighted his personality, leadership, mindset, and lifestyle. That content attracted brands and audiences, many of whom were interested in Shedeur as a person, not just a player. He understood early that attention is a currency, and he never let it go to waste. Whether it was through vlog-style videos, behind-the-scenes moments, or curated partnerships, Shedeur carefully built a narrative of consistency, confidence, and professionalism.
And here's the wildest part: his jersey dropped before other quarterbacks even got listed. Dillon Gabriel? Nothing. Kenny Pickett? Crickets. But Shedeur? His name was front and center, like the league already knew what time it was. This wasn't some backroom marketing mistake. This was a strategic drop. Fanatics in the NFL didn't need to wait for camp. They saw the energy, they saw the money moving.
By the time he left college, he had already created a full media ecosystem around his name. This allowed him to enter every NIL negotiation with leverage. Brands weren't just buying into an athlete. They were buying into a proven brand with existing reach, real metrics, and cultural impact. Shedeur Sanders didn't treat NIL like a short-term opportunity for extra income. He approached it like a long-term business strategy. His $6 million in NIL earnings didn't come from a single deal or flashy campaign. It came from a combination of carefully selected brand partnerships, merchandise sales, media deals, and equity-based arrangements. Instead of simply appearing in commercials or posting sponsored content, Shedeur made ownership a priority. He took equity stakes in companies he partnered with and focused on deals that gave him back-end profits, like merchandise sales percentages and revenue shares. He also worked with advisors to ensure each partnership aligned with his personal brand. Unlike athletes who jump at the first endorsement offer, Shedeur prioritized brand synergy, cultural relevance, and long-term scalability. Every deal was curated to add value beyond the check. One standout example is how he handled his jersey sales. While most rookies hope for a limited retail presence after making the active roster, Shedeur's jersey was released nationally before preseason even began. That early release, paired with a strong online following and a motivated fan base, generated over $250 million in jersey revenue, of which Shedeur reportedly earned a $15 million cut. It's important to understand that NIL isn't just about wearing a brand's gear anymore. It's about influence, content, relatability, and long-term thinking. Shedeur combined all of that into a business model that many athletes are now looking to follow. One of the biggest surprises came when Shedeur's official NFL jersey became the top-selling rookie jersey in the country, even before he was officially listed on the Cleveland Browns depth chart. For context, Shedeur was selected in the 5th round and was 4th on the quarterback depth chart. But when Fanatics released his jersey early, it outsold those of quarterbacks taken in the 1st and 2nd rounds. Players like Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, who were taken earlier or had more media attention during the draft process, didn't come close in jersey sales.
For black fans especially, it became a statement. You always say support black business? Then we're buying this jersey. And they did in historic numbers.
My expectations have absolutely changed. Absolutely. My expectations have changed because a lot of what we're hearing from Cleveland has changed again.
This is what scares the old guard. Not just the numbers, but what they represent. Shedeur didn't wait around for ESPN to validate him.
This wasn't a marketing accident. It was a calculated move by fanatics and the NFL. They saw the demand early and responded. Shedeur already had a fan base built from his college days at Jackson State and Colorado, and he had extended his appeal far beyond those teams. Behind the scenes, Shedeur's team coordinated pre-launch buzz with influencers, social campaigns, and email drops to prime fans for the release. The moment it went live, the sales spike was immediate. Importantly, fans didn't just buy his jersey because of his football skill. For many, it was about identity and support. The jersey became a symbol, particularly in black communities, of supporting a young, confident athlete who had taken control of his career path. Support black business wasn't just a slogan. For many of his fans, it became a reason to purchase. Even before stepping onto an NFL field, Shedeur Sanders was influencing how rookies think about their image, how fans engage with players, and how brands approach athlete partnerships. Unlike traditional rookie stories, Shedeur wasn't relying on media interviews or team press events to introduce himself. He created his own channels, shared his thoughts in his own words, and documented his day-to-day life. He controlled his story. This made him more than just a football player in the eyes of his fans. People followed him not because he played for their team, but because they connected with his mindset and story. Some fans who weren't even Brown supporters bought his jersey and started following Cleveland games. Just because Shedeur was there. He turned passive followers into active supporters. His audience wasn't just watching from the sidelines. They were reposting his content, defending him in comment sections, and treating his career moves like shared victories. That type of engagement isn't common in football. It's the kind of loyalty usually reserved for musicians or influencers, not rookie quarterbacks. Shedeur blurred the line between athlete and icon.
Let's talk about how Shedeur Sanders turned the NIL game into his personal ATM. This man didn't just cash checks, he rewrote the blueprint. Before ever touching an NFL field, Shedeur earned $6 million through name, image, and likeness deals. And this wasn't just your average smile and hold the product kind of deal. This was ownership.
This shift in loyalty from teams to individual athletes is something the NFL and other leagues are beginning to notice. It's similar to what's happened in the NBA and other sports, where the athlete becomes the brand, and the team is secondary. In Shedeur's case, that dynamic was already in place before training camp even began. Criticism came early and often. Some sports media outlets were skeptical, suggesting Shedeur's popularity was just hype. Others questioned whether he could handle the speed and complexity of the NFL. And of course, many reduced his entire brand to just being Deion's son. But what they failed to realize is that Shedeur wasn't just trying to be a traditional quarterback. He was building something different, something that couldn't be measured only by touchdown passes or training camp reps. His goal was never just to fit into the system. He wanted to rewrite it. By embracing storytelling, digital strategy, and culture-savvy branding, Shedeur tapped into an audience that most rookies never reach. He wasn't chasing validation from the league. He was creating value for it. By skipping the traditional media route and going directly to fans, Shedeur sidestepped the gatekeepers. He didn't wait for ESPN, draft analysts, or sports radio hosts to validate him. Instead, he went straight to platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and built a following on his terms.
It was good that I grown up Little League and all that stuff under center, so it brings me back to Little League days.
Now let's talk about that prime equity clause, the real game changer. Inspired by Deion, yes, but elevated by Shedeur. This wasn't just an endorsement deal. It was equity, ownership, a seat at the table. That jersey you bought, that docuseries you streamed, that clip you shared, Shedeur wasn't just featured, he got paid on the back end. Every move was strategic.
That's why, even while sitting on the lower end of the Browns' depth chart, he had the top-selling rookie jersey. That's why he had deals that most first-round picks could only dream of. And that's why critics were left with little to say once the numbers came out. What Shedeur Sanders has done is bigger than his own success. He has shown that athletes, especially college athletes entering the professional world, don't have to wait for validation. They don't need to fit into outdated molds or depend on draft status to prove their worth. With the right strategy, the right content, and a clear sense of self, they can create opportunities far beyond what was once expected. He also demonstrated that NIL can be more than just a temporary way to make money in college. It can be the launch pad for a long-term business, one that exists independently of team contracts, playing time, or even the sport itself. By turning himself into a full-fledged brand, Shedeur turned followers into customers, media into distribution, and doubters into spectators. This shift is already impacting the way future stars think. High school athletes are studying social media strategy. College players are hiring brand consultants. Agents are being forced to expand their skill sets beyond contract negotiations and into content, branding, and digital media. The entire athlete economy is evolving fast.
Meanwhile, the media just kept repeating the same lazy takes. It's just hype. He's Deion's son. Let's see if he even makes the team. But while they were stuck in the old playbook, Shedeur was quietly building a modern quarterback empire. No noise, no begging for press, just straight up execution, real strategy, real leadership, real money.
Brands are taking notice too. Instead of chasing only performance metrics, they're looking at cultural relevance, storytelling, and influence. Athletes like Shedeur are proving that character, consistency, and audience connection can be just as powerful as stats on a box score. And fans, they're showing up for people, not just players. They're following stories, not just scores. That's the future Shedeur is helping shape, and it's only just beginning. Shedeur Sanders has made it clear that he's not just another NFL rookie. He's a blueprint for how athletes can take control of their image, their value, and their future. The $6 million in NIL earnings, the $250 million in jersey revenue, and the national attention weren't accidents. They were the result of years of branding, relationship building, and strategic planning. While some people in sports still underestimate the value of personal brand power, Shedeur proved it can be just as important as athletic performance. Whether or not he becomes a franchise quarterback on the field, he's already become one off the field. His approach will likely influence how future athletes think about their own brands for years to come. And as for those who doubted him, the numbers speak for themselves.